And what's up, y'all? It's your boy DJ Ben Amin, and you are here live on another episode of FANBROS Show, or should I say more likely, this is the Deadpool 2 review. And like I said before, it's your boy DJ Ben Amin, aka Dr. Doomfist, aka Keep That Same Energy on When You See Me, aka Reading Rambro, aka Michael Beige, aka The Man in the Mirror Universe, aka Black Bolt.
Wait, but the Man in the Mirror universe, that is so levels. I love it. I love it. And then the black boat. Come on, son.
Hey, shout out to Deadpool 2, which we're reviewing tonight. And as you've already heard and seen, I am joined by
Tatiana King Jones, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Stone Cold Steve Flossin, also known as Jen.
Woo!
Gem in the Hollow Fam, also known as Princess Preach, E Honda Civic, Emma Frosted Flakes, and T'Challa Bread.
And sitting in the third seat tonight, we have.
Yes. It's your boy Jeff J, aka the Merc with a Mic, Dwayne Wade Wilson, Do Rags to Riches, Earth, Wind, and Firestorm, John Bodega, Bagger Vance, Astro, and Fax, the Destroyer.
Yeah.
There we go. And like you heard before or seen as you are watching us live on YouTube, please make sure you hit that subscribe button right below this screen. Hit that subscribe, give us a like, all that good stuff. This is the Deadpool 2 review. And full spoilers, all that right away.
So this is the full spoilers. So
I mean,
okay.
Movie been out damn near a week now, like if you ain't seen it yet, come on now.
So we've been hyping it up because when we've been having chats amongst ourselves, it was clear that there was a huge divide within this team. There is the extreme hate belonging to DJ Ben Amin. There was the not so extreme, I was very entertained, a la me. And then there was the kind of middle-centered person, which was Jeff. So I think Jeff may need to be the mediator in this. Because we were really arguing hard body on Twitter.
This is like conflict resolution.
Yeah.
This don't be a good one, folks. So
yeah.
I mean, Tatiana, I'll let you, go first as to why you were so entertained by this film. And then I'll break down why, it's trash.
Well, for me, so you and I had a discussion about our expectations versus realities and things about that's number one, and discussions about what it means in terms of your expectations for a Deadpool movie. I enjoyed the first Deadpool movie, so I went into this expecting more of the same. I didn't expect anything groundbreaking. I didn't expect, how do you say this? I didn't expect anything incredibly smart above what they already showed me. I thought the first one was clever. I also thought it was Ryan and his team. They finally got a hold of this character he's loved forever, and basically he's modeled his entire career off of. So he's able to be a kid in a candy store or the kid in the sandbox, whatever euphemism you want to use, and be able to play with this character and do really funny things here and there. They were able to balance out Deadpool's annoyingness and Deadpool's cleverness, fourth wall breaking very well in the fourth one. In this movie, they weren't, I say he fell more into the annoying side. But that being said, I expected it. I expect that on the second go round, it's pretty much going to be more of the same, but they're going to have better visual gags. They're going to have a few new jokes. There's going to be a few new people that you didn't see before, which was true. I got what I came for in the grand scheme of things. And that's probably why I didn't have a major issue with the movie. And beyond major issue, I was actually pretty entertained. I thought it was funny. I thought it delivered on what was promised, which was ridiculous, silly jokes. Of course, the fourth wall breaking was all there. It was a little bit too much at times, but that being said, it's Ryan Reynolds. And I already have in my head an understanding of how off the wall he can be and how deep end he could be when it comes to this character. And further, it read to me from Jump Street as a movie that was done by committee. It wasn't a one a thought of one person with all their cleverness and ideas. It was multiple people saying, hey, what if we throw that in? Does this sound good? So I expected A and I got A. So I wasn't disappointed. I was entertained.
Can you see my side eye through these sunglasses?
Yes, I can.
We can actually see ourselves, so it's like Inception.
Yeah. And obviously I'll go in because I don't want to talk in walls. I'll go in deeper as to the different levels of entertainment, because there were absolutely things that I did not like about this movie. There were absolutely things that I was actually kind of pissed off about. But as an overall project, I enjoyed it.
All right. I know that, Jeff is a big fan of Deadpool. I'm one of those people who like grew up on the Deadpool comic. I mean, not the Deadpool comic actually, but when he was first introduced in like New Mutants and X-Force, etc. I like the Deadpool movie. The first one overall, it was cool. It was funny. They did, Deadpool justice as a character. This one, I mean, like, just there's a lot of levels to it why I really didn't enjoy this. But like the first thing, I'll say it like this, like you said, Deadpool 2 is like the Austin Powers 2 of the Deadpool series. It's like the Iron Man 2 of Iron Man. It's like the Thor 2, the Dark World of the series.
Oh, damn, don't.
I mean, no, listen.
You can't give it the Dark World treatment. Like, that's harsh. That was a terrible movie.
I would see, but the thing is, I don't think Dark World is terrible.
Oh, I do.
I don't think Iron Man 2 is terrible. I don't really think Austin Powers 2 is pretty terrible.
No, that was just trash.
Yeah, but it's the same.
Who shagged me?
No, that's the first one. The second one is the one with Fat. No, Golden Member's third. That's the dope one. That's when they got it back together. Yeah.
Can't remember the second one, so I guess it was.
There you go. But yeah, back to the matter. It's like, oh man, I just forgot what other second film it's like. It's like this film where they just show up. It's like that's how I felt about Deadpool 2. Everyone showed up, and they're there. And they do the typical things. Ryan Reynolds spits a lot of jokes. Blah, blah, blah. He talks to the camera. He tells you what's about to happen. It's like, and yes, that's what you came for. Okay, but like, can you do it? There's like you said, there's a lot of levels to it. Let's get to the first thing.
Okay.
And I know it's something that you probably agree with me on.
Yes.
As they say, the fridging of Vanessa. The fact that they kill the female character so that the male character has some sort of angst and some sort of tension in his life, and he has something to come back from now, was trash. And it was, to me, it was even made more trash, spoiler alert, by the fact that at the end of the movie, in the end credits, they bring her back. So it's like, not only
what was the point?
What was the point? And then people are like, well, that's what happens, and he has to go on this, but nothing changed for him after that. He was still the same idiot dickhead. So it wasn't like he learned anything from her death.
Nothing would have changed.
Yeah, he still got the rest of X-Force killed. He still, which is
funny
great.
As hell.
It was amazing.
It was funny
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh my God. But like, it was still like, this guy is still the same jackass. And as I'm saying, it wasn't like his character went anywhere or learned anything. And I know that's Deadpool, and it's still, but at the same time, it's like, this is not just Deadpool. You can't just rate it as a Deadpool movie. That I feel weird doing that, and to say it's made by committee. The Marvel films are all made by committee. It's like all films are made by committee at this point.
Well, I'll explain further when I say that. As I watched this film, at the end, when I was able to interpret what I've just seen, I could tell there were a lot of chefs in the kitchen. Yes, every movie, maybe not every movie, but there's many projects that are made by committee. So there's several people. If you look at a TV show, it's a writer's room, things like that. Yes. But there's still, with things that are crafted impeccably well, it's one voice that you hear or see, depending on whether it's the direction or the writing or whatever.
Yes.
It's one cohesive thing. As Deadpool 2 was going on, I could tell Jack in the corner, and I'm just using names, Jack in the corner had a funny joke, and Ryan in the other corner said, let's throw that in there. Then Todd in the corner had said, oh, what about this? And Jack said, yeah, man, let's do that too. That's what it felt like to me. Like they were just throwing they were passing the basketball to each other and just doing layups for each other. Now that can be all well and good, but it can be a problem when you're watching a movie for some level of cohesiveness. And again, that's a little shaky when you're talking about a character like Deadpool, because Deadpool is he defames himself. Number one, he breaks the fourth wall, and he's supposed to be this, in essence, a very smart, out of body, otherworldly character, because especially in the first one, they talk about the very tropes that they insert within the own movie. So for them to do the fridging thing, which I was like, that was kind of not just weird, it was stupid, and it served no real purpose. Even to say, oh, that was his motivation. He didn't need that motivation. He could have did everything that happened in the movie without that. They literally could have did anything, and he still would have had motivation to get X-Force. It still would have been motivation for him for Cable and all this other stuff. Like, if you literally changed that part about Vanessa and did anything else and kept the rest of the movie going, it still would have worked. You would have had to change maybe 2 lines. Yeah. 2 lines. And so to me, it didn't serve a purpose. But again, that didn't completely kill the movie for me.
All right. Well, I can go on. So since we got to Vanessa, let's talk about some other characters. What I mean when they just showed up. Like, people are so hyped for this because Cable's in it. Spoiler alert again. Juggernaut.
It's a spoiler review, bro. You don't gotta say.
Yeah, you don't say spoiler.
All right, fine. Okay, Juggernaut, Cable. No, Cable wasn't fire. Let's get it straight. Cable was about as fire as he is in like the first 10 times he appeared in the comic, which was trash. Like, he just is there.
So you didn't like Josh Brolin's portrayal of Cable?
It's not that I didn't like Josh Brolin. He looks great. He's there.
No, his portrayal.
Let me get to that. Okay. He's Cable in physical form. He looks like Cable. It's amazing, all that. He does some of the stuff Cable can do. He has a big ass gun, etc. What does he do in the film? All right, let's see. This goes back to script again. Script terrible. Okay, Cable going back in time to stop Fire Fist Rusty from killing his family in the future. Cable lives in a post-apocalyptic future. He leaves his family there to go back in time to kill this one.
Well, they're dead, so he left a bunch of Pompeii corpses there.
Hopefully to save his family, right? So he goes back to Pompeii corpses, whatever. He goes back to kill Fire Fist, and so he stops them. So basically, his family is back, right?
He can't come back though, because
he saved Deadpool.
He saved Deadpool.
Why not let Deadpool die then? I just met Deadpool. Why not? My family, ain't that okay? Because now my family is in the future in a post-apocalyptic world.
Somehow,
right now.
Yeah, let me finish. And I'm a cop. So I went back in time. So all the people other than Fire Fist who I locked up are gonna come looking for my family, right?
What?
Like he's a cop, right? He said he stopped people like Fire Fist. So he goes back in time and leaves, saves his family. But now his family is in the future without him to protect them in this post-apocalyptic world.
Well, he saved them because he stopped Fire Fist from becoming who Fire Fist was.
Basically,
but it's not like, okay, this is what I'm saying. Bad writing. Once again, why not make Fire Fist responsible for the future? Why not, have him go back in time trying to stop the thing that, causes this world he's from? Why just stop this?
You kind of lost me there because grew up, killed his family, so he went back in time to try to kill Fire Fist before he became
kill his family.
So ended up doing that without killing him, which was the main
right. But I guess
Deadpool wanted to save him because Deadpool.
But Ben, tell me if this is where you're going with this. Yeah. The fact that somehow in that the guy that you're trying to say that when it's Deadpool, this guy he just met, somehow Deadpool was able to melt his heart enough for Cable to forego being able to get back to his family, at least initially, and to save Deadpool. You're saying, why would he save Deadpool? Why
Yes,
you're saying
over-
where did that relationship come from besides the fact in the comics they're best friends?
and besides the fact now you've left your family in the future. That's what I'm saying. You've left your. It's not like the world that he comes from is some like. It's even weird. Okay, I guess if you coming back and to save your family and then you're gonna go back, that's cool. But if you don't, it's kind of pointless because if you like save your family and you leave them in this world.
Yeah, but what was interesting is we know that Cable or from canon, we know he's from this post-apocalyptic world, but from what I saw on screen, it didn't look that bad. His house looked like pretty baller. He had like a Zen garden in there. Like, what was going on?
I don't think it was a post-apocalyptic world.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was this
apocalyptic because his family got killed.
Right.
And I'll say just a couple of things from what I'm hearing from y'all. First, I do think that the plot was a mess. I'm not going to argue anybody.
It was.
The plot was a mess. That didn't really take away from my overall enjoyment of the film. I do think that you're being a little harsh. That's why I said, Ben, I think you're picking nits a little bit with the whole Cable thing, because that was pretty straightforward to follow. He used his jump to save Deadpool as opposed to going back to his family, because I guess it was like a payback, because Deadpool in essence saved his family, so he saved Deadpool.
No, because Ben basically, the nitpicking he's doing, he doesn't believe that type of relationship could be formed.
No, y'all missing my point there. Y'all missing my point.
I don't. What's your point?
I'm trying to understand it.
Okay, my point is that Cable, like in the comics at least, doesn't come, and what he said in the movie is that he's a dude who stops people like Fire Fist.
Right.
And usually I get them, but this one got through and came back. This one got mad because I tried to stop him before and he came and killed my family.
Right.
So there's other people like Fire Fist in the future that Cable's from at the very least. So he is not the only villain who will come after his family, and you've now left them there because you're chilling in the past with your new buddy.
Well, if the future hasn't occurred yet and he can get back to them.
See, this is why I don't like time travel.
I mean, yeah, it always gets a little hairy with time travel, but just in terms of damn, you had said something earlier, Tatiana, about what Deadpool, when he was breaking the fourth wall. He breaks the fourth wall. Like, I don't think it's so much intelligence as it is schizophrenia.
Yes,
because in essence, him breaking the fourth wall is him talking to himself, but
yes,
it so happens that himself is us.
It's us.
And he's made it so that he's breaking the fourth wall as if there is somebody watching, but in their world, there's nobody watching.
Correct.
There was even a part of there was an old school Deadpool comic where he actually he breaks through the fourth wall and actually gets to the real world, like talking to the artist and the writers of the book.
Yeah.
They're just like, yo, you're wilding right now. You need to go back in the book. You're messing up my story. But yeah, like I do get your points overall about the plot. I think that the plot was a little sketchy. But what I would say in terms of the characters, I think they hit what the characters were supposed to be. They captured what X-Men comic characters are better than anything the X-Men universe has put out.
And I agree. My concern though with the characters that they showed, and I'm not talking about the cameo stuff, I'm talking about the characters that were supposed to be true characters, is that they underutilized them severely. Because after the first one, I was really pressed to see a lot more Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And this one, she barely did anything. And then Colossus, yeah, you saw a little bit more Colossus, but generally speaking, they didn't do much. They were there to say, you're a trainee. And they had a moment or two at the very end, but you didn't see much of them. Now that I will say, but I also agree with what Jeff's saying. I think the characterizations of them were, I didn't see an issue with it, and clearly you do.
Clearly. Okay, let's run down the list. Let me run down the list real quick. All right, let's start with Colossus, right? Big metal strong dude in this film, right? And in the first one, and tells him, this silly stuff about being a hero. Nothing about Colossus being an artist. Nothing about Colossus being the person besides this metal thing. Never seen Peter even really, just this metal thing. He strong fights. All right, whatever. Negasonic teenage.
But wait. He's very first of all, he's very he's more of an empath if anything. The way they've demonstrated Colossus is not just of this big brute, if you will. They've always demonstrated him to be more of a philosopher,
the soft,
and more empathetic.
Colossus he was in the first one. Did you have an issue with him in the first one?
Yeah, because he was literally the same character in the first one.
I didn't really like him in the first one either. That was
there it is.
Yeah, I didn't really think that they really nailed him.
I do think this was a movie. I will say, if you weren't really feeling first Deadpool, you're not gonna. Second one.
Okay, but let me finish. Let me finish. Let me keep going. Because that's what I'm saying. It's not just with one character that I feel they just show up. And when you talk about like these are characters that I've loved forever. Black Tom. Okay, hilarious jokes. I loved it. You know, the Black Tom, all that. You know, you kill Black Tom, you're a racist. All that stuff, great. You know, but Black Tom's a really dope character who has a dope relationship with the Juggernaut. They don't, you know, none of that. Once again, okay, moving down the line to the Juggernaut. Juggernaut isn't just this dude. I love the fact that they do mention the line, you know, he can't be stopped, all that, because that's him. But he isn't just this big, strong dude who's mad at things. He's mad because he hates his brother. You know, he has a jealous relationship with Charles Xavier. He's also not a mutant. So that's another thing. But that, you know, that's probably too far-fetched for them to explain, etc. So they just throw the collar on him.
So you're pinning this on lazy writing as opposed to that's not what this movie's about.
And that goes to my biggest problem with it. And like the jokes, all that are hilarious. Some of them I don't think will last. Dubstep, whatever. That's kind of corny.
That's old.
Yeah, it not only is it old, it did make sense that Cable would know about it, but that's another story. But I'm just talking like some of the jokes are, like I said, the Black Tom, all that stuff is hilarious. Was it Black Widow? You know, I mean, we'll get to Domino, but that's another story. But like, just the movie is such lazy writing, and when you're a screenwriter and you're allowed all these different tricks that the writers of this were allowed to break in the fourth wall, to say, oh, bid CGI, oh, here comes some exposition, you know, a bid steaming bowl of exposition, you know, right there, all that type of stuff, and then you still write lazy ass tropes and lazy writing in general.
Like what, for example?
All out lazy writing. Well, I mean, the two biggest are the fact that you kill Vanessa and you kill Cable's family. Those are the two motivations. You don't even get to see Cable's family other than flashbacks, and Cable and Vanessa just sits in a bed. You know, and Vanessa was a major character in the first one. And part of the reason I really loved the first one was the depiction of Vanessa and the depiction of the relationship between Wade and Vanessa. That was so ill because you never see shit like that on screen. You never see a woman talk about, yo, I'm gonna peg you in the butt. And, you know, dude being like, word up. You know, you don't see that type of stuff. And so then you have this, and then you murk her off. Well, he was damn sure down with it. You know?
I'm just saying, not that phrase.
Just not the word up. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So yes, it's super lazy writing. And that's what I mean. It's like, and from what I've heard, a lot of the jokes are just Ryan on set throwing them out. You know? Yeah.
But once again, I have to ask, especially if you didn't really care for the first one. I know you said you love certain parts of it.
Yeah, I loved a lot of it. Like overall.
But if you were kind of iffy on the first one, this was just going to be a lot more of the same. So again, my original sentence was expectation versus reality. Yeah, what were you expecting?
But that's like saying you were down on the first two Thor movies, which most people were, and then Thor Ragnarok turns out to be a gem. You know, and you like these characters, and I like Domino. Like, if we want to get to that, and I liked a lot of things about it, but it's just these lazy ass writing parts that really make me like, where people are like, oh my God, this is 9 out of 10. And I'm just like, real. But anyway, you know, that's what I'm saying. I like this stuff. And so you want better, and you're given, you know, that's what kills me, when you're given the chance to do anything. You made all the money in the world with the first one. You have all, you know, the carte blanche, whatever. Everyone's looking at you like, do whatever you want. Set up something for a part 3 because you know you're going to get it now. Do a dope ass movie. You know, like,
so to contrast what you said about Vanessa, we also saw a lesbian relationship that
no.
What was the issue? What was your issue with how it was portrayed? Because you don't like how they portrayed it.
No, let Jeff go. Yeah.
The speak. So first off, you do get that, and I do think that you didn't like Deadpool.
Right.
No, that's not true, because
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you didn't really like Deadpool because the stuff that you're complaining about or criticizing, I won't use a trigger word. The stuff that you're criticizing now is more of the same stuff that was in part one. So for example, for me, right, I felt like the jokes in the movie, there were cool jokes, there were funny jokes, but I felt like it was like your friend who unloads the clip with every joke that they have, and they're volume shooting with the jokes. And it's like, yo, I had this joke, I'm getting this joke off, I don't care, no matter what, I can't wait until next week, I got to get all my jokes out now. And I felt like they overloaded with the jokes. That was one of my biggest critiques. On the other end, I loved what they did with Domino, where I never thought that the luck power, and it's funny because they
talk about it.
Where you say there's lazy writing, I love the fact that, first of all, I love the fact that Deadpool clowned Liefeld not being able to draw feet.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he was talking about her power's luck. It's not really that cinematic, because that's stuff that people actually said, and
on the internet,
they were able to portray it perfectly to me. Like it was ill how they showed how she's in the right place at the right time and things broke in her favor. So I love the fact that she was very prominent. The whole thing about Vanessa, that goes back to my whole thing about the way the plot was. I thought the plot was a mess, but this was like a popcorn movie for me, and that's what the Deadpool movies were. Like, you come, you see, it was really like Fast and the Furious of superhero movies. Am I going there to see Oscar-worthy Vin Diesel? No. Am I going to see Jason Statham make me cry? No. I'm going there to see fly cars. I want to see them in space. That's something separate. I want to see Fast and the Furious in space,
basically
running off of like moons and shit. Like, that's just me. But in terms of my, like you said before, the expectation versus reality, I thought they had enough cool elements where I said I liked it, I didn't love it, but to the extreme of it being like the writing diminishing it to that point, it didn't take it away from me.
Okay. All right. Well, me personally, like I said, I don't hate the first one. I actually liked it. That was my problem. Like I don't think y'all are getting this. Like, when Vanessa got killed, I was sitting there for the next 30 minutes like, wait, what? Because I just didn't understand that when you had such a dope thing going from the first one. So that blew my mind for a lot of it. And then after that, it's like, oh, you're making jokes about dubstep, and you're actually joking after you killed off a major character. And, they made jokes about it in the credits. And I get it. Some of these jokes are funny, but at the same time, it's like, I did not get where they were going. And then it didn't feel like they went anywhere. Like Tatiana said, it felt like that could have been done with anything. And this is Deadpool. That's what makes it even worse. He could have been like, yo, Betty Wright, wants revenge. And I'm going for revenge for Betty Wright, because this is my movie.
The way that they handle the Deadpool movie, it's like typical Marvel arcs. It's like, after a while, it's not going to matter. They're going to reset it anyway. So the way I see Deadpool movies is, technically, it kind of doesn't matter what happens in the movie, because Ryan and friends are going to put in whatever story or whatever turn that they want. So if a lot of this stuff doesn't really matter in the end, especially with this movie where literally time travel changed so much of the timeline or reversed everything back in a way and apparently cleaned up the timeline as well. When doing that, then why did you kill Vanessa in the first place?
And that's what I thought was so hilarious about it, because it literally was like, that end credit was like the writers like, yo,
that was beautiful.
All this shit. We showed you all this shit. All right, let me show you what we can really do with time travel. Like, I'm not going to front. In terms of, you can bring Fox, Sony, and Marvel MCU, that was one of the best post-credit scenes I've seen. Best post-credit. Like, it was just so absurd that I was like, yo, first of all, they, like you said, they corrected a lot of wrongs. Let's say the least. They collected a lot of wrongs. The X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he killed himself twice.
Yes.
He kills the original Deadpool. It was like, I still love you. He kills himself writing the Green Lantern script, which was fucking, like, I didn't see that coming. Like, that shit was crazy. The whole all the stuff that he was doing and just going back, and the fact that he called Negasonic Teenage Warhead 11.
Right. Right. And I guess
It caught me off guard. That caught me off guard. Like that
was dope though. And that's what I would say why I understand the difficulty some people will have also, and maybe not you specifically, Ben, but just in general, the difficulty some people will have with this movie is because there's such amazing and more than flashes, like whole scenes and picturesque murals of brilliance within the movie, within the jokes, within the levels and the timings and the payoffs. But then there's so many bad turns as well, and there's so many areas where like they drop the ball. So it's just like, how could you paint this fresco on one end and then 45 minutes later you're painting six figures? Like, how do we get there? And I think that goes back to the whole consistency issue. So again, for me, I went in there looking for A, and I got mainly A, but I also got a lot of inconsistencies, which were bothersome, and I alerted a few of them, but there were some things that's like you guys could have laid off of it. Like you was way too much mustard on the hot dog. Like it's a little bit too much.
That's like one where I even disagree with y'all. I thought there was a lot of jokes, but I thought like the jokes were great. You know, like other than some that will be instantly dated, like the dubstep joints, you know, most of them just hit to me and they were killing it. That wasn't my issue with it, with the jokes.
But no, and I'm not saying, and that's why I was very, very clear when I said not you specifically.
Okay,
and no, and then not even about whether a joke was funny, whether it was necessary. When Deadpool talks in walls again, it's not always the same every time, but in this film, every other word was a joke. Every other word was a punchline to a setup, to a callback, to a reference. Everything. And after a while, it gets exhausting. Like, okay, bruh, I get it. You're fucking brilliant and you're funny, but I don't need you to keep trying to prove it to me all the time. So that's why I say I understand where that may piss people a bit, or not even piss, just irritate you, because it's just like, I believe you're funny, but leave me alone. Like, I want to have a conversation with you, but you don't have to talk to me for 15 minutes straight. Let me get a word in edgewise, like that type of thing.
Yeah, but like I know Jeff was talking about like the roasting sessions, like when they were sitting there, and then
the roasting sessions were hilarious.
And they were in their ass.
Then when he's like, wait, let me do mine again. Like,
yeah.
Give me your line again.
That's what it'd be like. That's how I feel on Twitter when somebody hits a fire caption, and I'm like, fuck, I want to go back in. I need a do-over. I delete the tweet and I come back with a do-over.
I don't like when you make a fire caption and then somebody quotes your caption and does even more fire caption.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah. That's when you got to delete yours. Like, nah, fuck that. You're not getting
Yeah.
You know what's funny about what you said, Tatiana? Ironically, that's what Deadpool is.
Yes, and that's what's so difficult.
Like, and it's crazy because that could be a valid critique, but for the quote unquote comic purists that what their comics just like, that's what Deadpool.
And that's why I'm also so confused about why Ben was just, I mean, besides the fridging and all the other stuff, just Deadpool as a character, the way he's brought across.
No.
Why, are you okay with the way he's being brought across?
Yes, okay. I think y'all want, I mean, I
well,
guess
instead of saying you think we're not, tell us what.
Okay, I love Deadpool is great. You know, Domino, great.
Okay.
Cable looks great.
Okay.
Josh Brolin is Josh Brolin. He's a fantastic actor. You know,
he's
he did. Yeah, he's Thanos Cable. He did what he could with the role he was given.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't give him much to do other than come back and shoot at people. You know, and he barely talked.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, Cable isn't much of a character.
Fox cartoon, that's kind of what Cable did.
Cable ain't much of a. I know Cable ain't much of a character anyway. But okay, let me go on. My problems were with people like Russell. My problem, Rusty, whatever. Because these are actually
Russell. I thought it was Russell. I think you were right.
It's Russell, Rusty. There's characters. This is Spark. I can't remember what his character name in the comics, but that's a character that I F with in the comics. Completely different. And I understand they don't give a shit. Things like that. But okay, but it matters like when you talk about the comic book heads because you get Deadpool so right. Yukio was the one that really bothered me, honestly, because Yukio is a really dope character in the comics, and she's the reason why Storm gets the mohawk. She might have had a relationship with Storm on the low that they couldn't write back then, but that was always implied. And so that stuff is really dope to me. And now in this, Yukio is, Negasoni's girlfriend, which is cool, but they're barely in the joint.
I have a question for you. And let me get through the question before you answer. Do you have, and you said it, but I just want to confirm. Are you saying that your major issues with everything you just said with these particular characters that you mentioned is because these are characters you know and love, and to you they mismanage them? Or is it because Deadpool in this iteration, in this experience that we've had him in now these 2 movies, that he represents, really, if you are not a comic book head, there's so much you're just not going to get. There's certain, for example, there's certain comic movies, lots of the Marvel movies, where you don't need to have a lot of back knowledge. You can get through it and be pretty good. Whereas with this movie, unless you like that type of humor, and unless you get the back information, the backstory about it, you may be a little lost. Is that your issue?
Yes, that's my main point, because it's like that you do such a good job with Deadpool. You do such a good job with Domino. You do an okayish job with Cable with what he is. Cable ain't that deep when you really get down to it. Did you do all these little references like the field can't draw feet? Look at those pouches. It's all these real comic book ass shits. So you have to really know your comic books. Even all the fact that they're commenting on tropes all through the movie. At one point he said, well, that's just lazy writing, when they're talking about the time travel aspect, how he can go back and forth. He turns, that's lazy writing. But it's not lazy writing to kill the woman. It's not lazy writing to not know these characters better than you know them and just throw them on because you looked into a book that had all these characters in it and you chose a name, was like, okay, that's a cool name, Yukio. Let's make her this instead of what she is. And so it's like, if you're going to get all that right, why not get this right? And if you're going to have, like these things where people are going to be like, oh, look at that, it's your first lesbian relationship on screen. But it's like, come on. Like, and I love Negasonic just as much as everybody, so I wanted to see more of her. I felt like there was a lot of stuff on the first film that just went unfulfilled in this one.
Well, to be fair, it is a different film, so to expect them to, not to say that your expectations were wrong, but if you were to tell the story and say, okay, in my story they would have a more prominent role, and they choose to go a different way, I don't think that that's wrong. They just chose to tell the story.
Yeah. I don't think it's wrong. That's actually a great point you make.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's wrong. However, I guess when it's me as a writer, especially when there's a character that everyone, let's put that on the table. Everyone loved Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I don't think there was one person who did not like her or did not grow to like her after the first film. So maybe in our or Ben's mind, logic would tell you, hey, let's throw more of her in there and give her more to do. And they did the exact opposite. And it seems like and tell me if I'm wrong, Ben, it seems like that there were some, I guess, easy layups for them to make. And they decided, not that they didn't have a skill, they decided to deliberately not make that shot.
Yes, and I'll say this in their defense, like, I understand you can't have Negasonic in it at certain points because then she has to get killed when X-Force gets killed. But once again, you're writing this, so you're choosing all this. And I just say, when you have those advantages of being able to do anything you want, literally anything could have been Deadpool's motivation, because he's fucking Deadpool. It could have been like, yo, they're out of chimichangas. I'm going on a revenge of the person who took out chimichangas.
And it would have been still believable.
It would have been still believable. You do anything you want, and they just choose to do the typical shit. And that's what bothered me. That's where it lost me. And especially with characters, I understand you can't have Negasonic in it, like I said, because X-Force. But then the characters you do have in it, other than Domino, were just there. And I get it. It's Deadpool's movie, but I mean, I'm not, like I say, I'm not like where I'm like, fuck this movie, y'all shouldn't see it. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, that's not what you were saying the other day. Maybe you cooled off from them, but you were
I cooled off. I mean, I think, but I do have a supreme problem with something when you have Vanessa in the first film. And so, like, I don't know, maybe I was the only person out there who loved her like that, but I thought that was an important part of the first film, and I thought it was really dope and so different than what
at the same moment, Julian Dennison, who played Fire Fist, I thought he was dope. I thought he killed it.
Yeah, I liked him.
I liked him.
I did think he did his thing. Like, let's keep it real. Dopinder, the dude who played Dopinder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thing. Like so for all of the characters, and I mean personally, I like the Juggernaut. I like Juggernaut. I thought it was cool.
I loved it when he was.
I knew it was Juggernaut the moment they said
yeah.
a big heavy. I didn't know if they were gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm happy that they didn't do a "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" joke. Like, leave that in the 2000s.
I kind of wanted it.
I wanted it.
I kind of wanted it.
A dirty part of me wanted it, but I'm glad it didn't come out.
Right. But I also felt like I mean, I know it's super old, but you made a joke about dubstep, so why not?
For real.
I mean, we gotta get that German money. Don't stop the German money.
Like,
We gotta
why
talk
not?
about dubstep. We gotta get that German. No, I hear you, but that's why if he would have did it, if he would have been like, "That's the Juggernaut, bitch," I would have.
Yes. I would have absolutely died.
I promise you that joke was on the table, and it probably is in the long form or the other.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it was on the table. But yeah, but another thing is, this movie had a lot of Easter eggs.
Yes.
A whole lot. Like stuff that
yes.
like when I looked up, I was like, some I caught, some I was just like, damn, I didn't even see that shit. But
and that's part of the reason. That's another reason why I enjoyed it so much.
It was a lot.
I love being able, and again, yes, you pretty much have to be a comic head, or at least, or the animation, or whatever. You got to know about the characters to even know what to look for and even recognize in the first place. But yes, Jeff, the Easter eggs definitely kept me in there as well. Like, even if everything was not that it wasn't to me. Again, I really did like the movie a lot. Even if everything was terrible, all the Easter eggs kept me engaged as well. And even the things that weren't hidden, just like the gag with saying, oh, you would think they would put an X-Men or two this time around. And then all of them is in the next room when they open the sliding door. Ben's rubbing his head. He has a problem with that. Or
No,
okay?
no. That was great. Yeah, no.
That
That's
was
what I'm saying.
fantastic.
You know
like,
what's funny about that?
on.
It was also like a low-key dig at Fox, because why were they still young?
Right, it was like the first class version.
It was the first class X-Men, and they're all still young.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like one thing that I caught just looking at this that I definitely saw when that explosion happened at the end and Deadpool was gray. That's his uncanny.
His black and white, yeah.
That's uncanny X-Men. And I was like, wow, they're really doing it. But there was certain stuff that I didn't even catch. So when
you saw Stan Lee's mural, right?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Stan Lee technically was in the movie. So when the X-Force first jump, or around the time after they jump out the plane or the helicopter, whatever the hell they jumped out of, when either before the first death or after the first death, when someone's parachuting down into the city, it's really quick, but they pass by a building, and on that building is this huge, very colorful mural of Stan Lee.
Yo, the funniest part about that sequence was I went for some popcorn, and then I saw the rest of them die. And then I was like, okay, wait, where's Terry Crews? Because that's how quick it was. I was like, okay, Terry made it, right?
I like that though. That's because that was completely unexpected.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, how can you say it's a terrible movie? Like,
but see, okay, that's what I'm saying.
To right. You know what? We just introduced the characters. Everybody's hype about it. People been knowing for the last year, 13 months. Terry Crews is in it. Louis Tan, he's Shatterstar. These people have emojis on Twitter, and they still got killed.
I mean, but that's Deadpool. So I wasn't expecting that. No, I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, that makes up for them killing Vanessa or anything.
I'm just saying that fact that was brilliant.
Yeah, there are brilliant shit in this movie. Like, the Black Tom stuff had me crying. And still, every time I think about it, when he shot him in the face, he's like, you racist. Like, that was,
yeah, he
said, what's your power? Cultural appropriation.
I'm not so sure that if you're mad at the movie more than you're just mad at so many open, like you feel like there were so many threes they could have made, and they opted for either layups or just kept shooting bricks to you. Like, that's what I feel it is.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Did y'all see the there was a few other Easter eggs that I caught that was like crazy. The Alpha Flight.
Yes, on the taxi.
The Alpha Flight, what do you call it? Advertisement on the taxi.
Yes.
No, I missed that.
Yeah,
on Alpha Flight advertisement. I didn't know that when the first time Deadpool faced Juggernaut, he said the sun is getting low.
Yes. Yeah.
That one I missed when I saw that. He called Cable One Eye Willie, and Josh Brolin was the Goonies, right?
Yep. And,
so that one went over my head, but I get it. Like,
I don't know that.
Fact. There was a lot. I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at some of the.
I'm surprised they didn't make a Jonah Hex reference that he never said.
No, they
anything
probably
about.
did. I like the fact that when they did the James Bond intro, that were you reading the
that's when they were making fun of what they just did.
When they mentioned the guys who killed John Wick's dog.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
One of the directors of this film directed John Wick.
Yeah.
So I'm like, a lot of the in jokes, the writers, the directors, all that stuff, they were basically roasting everybody in and off of the crew.
Yeah, but at the same time, they were trying to make up for the fact that they just killed Vanessa, because that was what a lot of those titles were. They were like, "What the fuck?" I don't think
they were making up for anything.
No.
They were ignoring her, which was the problem.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you read the title sequence, those like, "What the fuck?" and oh yeah, we know. You know, they know what they just did, and so they're like,
did they really? Because there was an interview, and I don't know if they were trolling or they were being serious. But
shit. Yeah, they didn't. There
was an interview where they asked them seriously. I forgot who it was or what the outlet was, but they asked them, "Did you? One, do you know what fridging is? And two, did you know that you fridge Vanessa and all that stuff?" And they responded, and like I said, I really hope it wasn't trolling, but it's still bad. They responded, no, they don't know what that term even means and how that reflected to them. And it's like, how could you not, if the whole premise is to make fun of comic book tropes? And that is like the number one, not just comic book, the number one literary trope, video game trope, creation trope, like it's everywhere. How could you not? And I understand not maybe knowing the term, but like even that mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, they fail on certain things where it's just like, you guys are so damn smart. You got a 99% on your test. And that's why I feel like, not to say that this was like a 99% type movie. I just feel like they made their A or B plus, they were up there. But you as Professor Ben are just like, what happened to those 2 marks?
No. See, once again,
like, I feel like you're getting like in their ass on everything.
No, I'm not. Okay, but I just try to go back. Let me tell this to all screenwriters out here. This is something they even taught us in college. Like, this is the most basic shit. If you don't know what to do with a character, do not fucking kill them. That is like the most easy way out ever. You know, and so, okay, like the fact that they didn't know what fridging was is debatable, whatever. But like I say, you knew what killing a woman would do and killing someone who was a major part of your first movie, because that's why they put it in the credits. Let's throw back again. Even the end credit scene where they bring Vanessa back was added in afterwards. They screened the film without that. And people didn't react to it like that. And they're like, or that's what they say. People were like, oh, whatever, you kill Vanessa, fine. You know, and then they decided, no, let's bring her back. So it's like,
wasn't in the end credit. There was no end credit scene.
That wasn't in it, because there's another end credit scene where he goes back in time and kills baby Hitler. And they filmed that and everything.
Right, and they cut
it. But then they were like, but they cut it. There was different stuff in it. And so they didn't have Vanessa being saved. So their original thought when they turned in the script was kill this woman in the beginning, kill Cable's wife and daughter off screen, and then have it be the 2 reasons why these 2 men fight. Like I say, the rest of the movie is great, whatever, but that is some basic ass shit.
But that's why it's like, it's confusing to me. Like, there's no way they didn't know, and then for them to say in an interview, no, we don't know what that was, what that meant. And it's just like, but y'all got everything else.
But that's why it's so insulting, because it's like you make a film about, commenting on tropes, clowning tropes. I don't care if you're trolling or not at this point, because that's just trifling.
So if it was just listening what you said, right? If the movie was basically clowning comic book tropes and tropes in general, and they used a trope such as fridging, and it's a fourth wall breaking movie, why get as infuriated as you are that they did?
See, infuriated is the wrong word. I'm not infuriated. I just don't. I think it's just sloppiness. I just think that it's like, when I look at that, I'm like, and because you can't make jokes about these type of things when every other film treats it, when you don't treat that subject with finesse. You know, that's something you can make a joke about. Liefeld not drawing feet, that's fine, and that's easy fruit hanging right there. But when you're making a joke about women being used as, objects to propel the male, dude through his story, that's a very fine line you got to walk, and you can't walk that line when you out there shooting layups. You got to hit that 3.
Okay, I mean, I hear you on that. I didn't really. it didn't affect me as strongly because I don't take Deadpool as serious. Like I was
even I don't take him serious.
I don't either. But it's like
he was seeing her in the afterlife, and he kept trying to kill himself to get back to her and end his life, and how she was sending him back, and then he saves her. He just resets everything at the end anyway. Once he finds out that he has a time machine, because he goes back, he saves her, he saves X-Force, he kills himself twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he doesn't tell Cable that he fixed the time.
Right.
Why he goes, he's such a dick. Like it's this classic Deadpool, right? He goes and handles all of that's like me lending you my car. And I'm like, yo, make sure that you put gas in it. And you like, all right. And you put gas, you run all your errands and you bring it back. Yo, bro, I didn't really even go out like that. I didn't have time. And it's at the same level of gas as you brought it back to me. But you damn sure did put gas and go travel with my shit, right? That's how I felt he did with the time machine. But I'm not gonna belittle your point on that, especially, you know, from a screenwriting perspective, all of that. I concede that the plot itself, they could have done something else to make the plot a little bit more coherent. But I think they went heavy on the gags, because the special effects, the costumes, some of the editing was a bit jarring to me too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, some editing was jarring.
We just are appearing in places.
I was like, wait.
Yeah.
It's like,
I gotta say, I really love how they did Zay-Z and Ed Zamino.
Oh my God.
I think they did that perfectly, beautifully.
Yeah, but no, that's crazy. You noticed that, Jeff, because that was something that you shouldn't notice that when it's like you're in one scene and then suddenly you're somewhere else, and it's like
it affected the pacing too. Because I'm not gonna lie, there was a point where I think it was after from when they met up with Fire Fist at the Essex house, which is Mr. Sinister's surname or whatever. So that was another Easter egg. So like from that part when they went to the box and all of that was happening when they were seeing Cable, there was just like, I felt time. That's what I call it when I see movies. Like when I saw Infinity War, that was 2 or whatever hours. I never felt time. The only time I felt time was when I was like, yo, everybody dying and there's still more left. Like, what are you gonna do to me? Like, I don't know if I could be on this ride anymore. It's like you're on the roller coaster. You're like, get me off. But I felt time in this movie and some of the editing. But then it's crazy how you can shoot a scene cool, but the editing can fuck it up.
Yes.
But then the special effects were great. Like the CGI was good. The special effects were cool. Like it was from that perspective, costume design, all of that, the scores. Their music director always finds the right songs or whatever for the mood.
Besides dubstep.
Right. The dubstep era has to end. But yeah, like I think it's one of those where the sum of their parts weren't greater than the whole for me. Yeah. So it was like for all those individual parts I liked, but if like let's say they captured Vanessa again, because I think she got captured in the first one, right? By the gang.
Oh yeah.
Or like she got captured, or Fire Fist took her, or some shit happened, or even if she was just mentoring him type, and the Fire Fist thing happened, where you could have, to Ben's point, you could have left her out of it, and still had the movie. Like it's still probably been
her in it.
But it's like they really threw everything at the.
Well, that was my point. Ben said that he doesn't want you to take her out of it. He wants you to utilize her.
Things like take her out. Like you didn't have to use her death as a vehicle for something, because at the end of the day, it was Deadpool doesn't really need a vehicle.
Yeah.
What I followed was he went out, he killed all of these gangsters and these mobsters and all the underworld he went after. So the underworld came back for him and killed Vanessa because he wouldn't leave well enough alone. That's what I got. But then we all of a sudden go to a mutant crisis situation, right? Using his powers. It felt like I was reading one X-Men comic and then I picked up another one halfway and started reading like, this is I'm about to come back to, and I'm reading them at the same time. Like,
and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about writing by committee, where you can tell that Chef 1 said, let's put paprika in it. And Chef 2 said, no, adobo. And they said, let's do it both. And it's and it's just like, okay, all right, I'm going to put red pepper in it. It's just like, there's an acute difference between these tastes from 1 second to the next. And
in their food.
And and sometimes it all works very well very seamlessly, and sometimes it's not so seamless. So I saw the seams in this, but I still like the sweater. It was a little, I saw little threads hanging out, but I like the sweater, man. I wore the sweater.
The threads.
It kept me warm. I enjoyed it.
I think we've all said what we have to say on this. I'd wear the sweater. I'd wear it again on a Sunday afternoon when it's on cable.
Scale of 1 to 5.
Is it Coogee?
It's Coogee.
No, it's not Coogee.
What is it? What was it? It's H&M?
It's like
It's Hoogie.
It's Chaps.
It ain't.
Oh,
could have had another polo.
Oh, you brought it back.
Wait, okay, so Ben, scale of 1 to 5, what would you get it? 5 being the best, 1 being the worst.
3. Domino, 5, 10.
I like Domino's her own entity.
Oh my God.
Sassy beats forever, bro. Sassy beats forever.
Yes.
Jeff, 1 to 5, what you do?
I give it 3.5.
Okay, I gave it a 4.
Okay,
I gave it a 4. I went in there and I got what I wanted, and some more that I didn't ask for that was actually damn good. So I loved it.
Yeah, that's like what I said. Like, I love Deadpool 1. I like Deadpool 2. Like, I walked out and also I realize now a couple of things. I realize the importance of having a good crowd when you watch a movie, just so that you guys can react. Because I was in there Sunday afternoon with the grandparents who didn't know what they were getting themselves
into. No.
With like a few comic heads who, when we all were laughing at certain stuff, but you could tell there was a lot of, oh, well, I never. And like nervous laughter and whatnot, and that kind of messed up my mood too. It's like it's ill. Like, I never really felt that impact like that going. But I don't think I've rarely gone to the movies on a Sunday afternoon, so that also impacted
maybe
too. And the other thing I'll say real quick, I liked the fact that when I say they capture X-Men, like the X-Men characteristics and the X-Men, like what the X-Men are about. Having a mutant at a detention center or someplace where he's being held back, going crazy because he's being abused, while cops are there to subdue him with the cop. Like, this is like little shit that they could have done. And the fact that Deadpool, of all people, has to be the ones
to do it,
to show those common threads and those common archetypes of what X-Men comics were about. It just boggles my mind. Like, where have we been the last 2 decades? Where have y'all been? You know what I'm saying? So that was something that I really enjoyed when it comes to what I know about the X-Men characters and what they stand for, and the X world and what being a mutant is about. That's what I saw.
I like it. You got to end it there, man. Ben is like, disagree, vehemently disagree.
I don't understand how, though. Like, I really don't understand how. Like, you didn't see that?
I saw that, Jeff. At times I felt like that's my childhood. I was watching the Fox X-Men cartoon and every story was popping up in front of me. I saw it and I felt it and I thought it was glorious.
This shit felt like reading a Rob Liefeld written comic versus reading a Chris Claremont or Grant Morrison written X-Men.
Oh.
Man, now I see why people be coming for you, man.
Bring it at DJ Ben Amin on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Follow us on Twitter.
DJ Ben Amin do not necessarily reflect those of FANBROS Show, their affiliates, or their constituents. Please direct all hate mail to DJ Ben Amin.
There you go. And follow the rest of us at FANBROS Show, at Jeff J Says, at Tatiana King. Thank you for joining us for this Deadpool review. When that Domino movie hits. And we out.
Bye.